today's topic will be covering on dynamic analytic with ArcGIS Insight. Explore how to leverage ArcGIS Insight to dynamically create new dataset, export existing one, and create captivating visualization with consistent, repeatable analysis process that unlock new insight. So today's presenter is Zatil Husna, a technology consultant in Esri Malaysia. Without any further ado, I shall pass this presentation to Zatil.
Right, thank you, Kit Yen. I will just continue with our main topics for today. These are some of the things that we would like to share with you about ArcGIS Insights. So first, we will be going to product overview. We are going to introduce ArcGIS Insights, highlighting its key features and capabilities, data connections and data preparation. We will discuss how to connect to various data sources and prepare data for analysis. And then we will go to exploratory analysis. This is where we are going to explain the tools and techniques for initial data exploration and identifying patterns. And lastly, not that last, but we are going to go through spatial and statistical analysis, describing methods for conducting detailed spatial and statistical analysis. And lastly, we will go to reporting and collaboration. We will cover how to create reports and share findings with collaborators. So, what capabilities does ArcGIS Insights offer? In essence, Insights opens up location analytics to everyone. It is a rich environment that allows people to understand their data using location analytics, statistics, link analysis, charting, and as well as mapping. Here we have a high-level list of 4 core capabilities that Insights offers. With data access and preparation, once connected to your data, tabular or spatial data, you can make your data more usable by filtering it down, calculating new values, joining data sets, and formatting and renaming fields. And I would actually argue that data prep is not complete without a geo-enablement component, geocoding addresses or joining two boundaries. Exploratory analysis. This is all about visualizing your data in charts, tables, and maps. Then using the interactivity to define more specific questions that you need to analyze further. Statistical and spatial analysis. This is using analysis techniques to answer the questions that you have directly identified already. You will be able to answer things like, how is my data distributed? How are things related? What's nearby? And how have things changed? Reporting and collaboration is all about sharing your analysis models that serve as documentation and a way to rerun analysis. It's also about telling your story with meaning and context to others. With each of these capabilities, the steps that you take are recorded automatically for you within an ArcGIS Insights model, and that model can be rerun with new data, and it adds transparency to the logic that you use. Each of these steps can also be enhanced with scripting. Python and R are both available to you within an integrated environment. Insights allows you to leverage your organization's traditional data in tabular format, as well as your organization's GIS content in one spot. And this ability to use 2 types of data together, that's very powerful. Insight is available as software as a service in ArcGIS Online and on your managed infrastructure with ArcGIS Enterprise, and natively as a desktop application on Windows PC. So these 3 deployment options also work together as a system and are not isolated. So when describing the types of people that interact with Insights, we have 2 primary users. The analyst is connecting to data, creating analysis and visualizations, and ultimately creating the understanding. The viewer then performs selections and filters as designed by the analyst. Now, here comes the data access and preparation. Let's talk a little bit more detail on what can be done in this stage. So this is the stage where you connect to your data and clean it up a bit, filter, join, and enable it with that special component. So when you open a fresh new Insights workbook, and the first thing you want to do is to connect to your data. When connecting to your content, it can be spatial data or non-spatial data. This includes files and even now access to OneDrive and SharePoint. It includes ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Enterprise, and it can be multiple ArcGIS connections. It doesn't have to be just one organization connection. It's also connecting to relational databases. We support the most common. Azure is always working towards adding new data connectors, but if Insights doesn't have the data connector that you need, you can pull that data in using Python or R. And once you have added that data, ArcGIS Insights interprets and models it for you as a shape, numeric, ratio, categorical, or date field. With the date fields, it even breaks down the one field into individual usable subcomponents. This semantic modeling is what Insights uses to make intelligent defaults. You may have heard of smart mapping. Well, this is also smart charting. If there's any tag of special descriptor within your tabular data, you can use it. You can take your zip code field, country field, sales territory ID, asset ID, or whatever else serves as that location descriptor. And you can use that for location enablement. You can add the location field to your data, and with ArcGIS Insights, you can even add multiple shape fields to the same data set. For coordinates, we support over 5,000 of them. Geocoding addresses is an obvious one, but it's also about location points of interest and more. Location enablement is not just limited to point data. This is also boundary and line data as well. This can be custom geometries or well-known boundary data that Insights comes with. Once you have location enabled your data, enrichment can add new meaningful variables to it. The process basically overlays your data on top of the enrichment data and text on these new variables. This includes environmental, demographic, and business attributes like income, spending, land cover, population, and much more. There are actually thousands of data attributes for over 130 countries, and these details can be found at this URL in the bottom right over here. Okay, relationships or joining data is pretty fundamental. Of course, you can create relationships based off a common key field, but did you also know that you can perform special joins based of overlapping locations? So this is actually another way to bring disconnected data together. Filters is another foundational aspect, and within ArcGIS Insights, we actually have 4 different ways to filter. First, you can filter at the dataset level, and this will apply to the entire page. Or you can filter at the card level. Special filters may be made with options defining what interest doesn't intersect, what is contained by, and note contained by. Finally, the predefined filter is primarily set up for viewer interactivity. And as an analyst, you basically set up pick lists and pull down lists for your viewers to interact and filter the report. Okay, now for this demonstration, this is all about cycling accidents in Ottawa, Canada. The fatal cycling accidents increased between 2015 and 2018. And cycling advocates have called for the city to adopt a Vision Zero policy to eliminate traffic fatalities and increase public safety. So in this demonstration, I will show you how to create ArcGIS Insights workbook, and we will add data and we will enable location on a non-spatial data set. So first, you will create a data set using the geodatabase that we have already saved in our PC over here. And we will give a name and specify the type of data set, which is in this demonstration, I'll be using our file geodatabase. And you want to provide a descriptive summary for your file geodatabase that you will add. All right, so now the Ottawa Watts dataset is added to your dataset page. And then next you will add it to a workbook. The workbook is created and the add to page windows appear over here. So the Ottawa Watts dataset is selected by default. And next, you will upload the spreadsheet of traffic collisions. Right. So now what happened is two data sets are added to your untitled workbook and a map of Ottawa's ward is created. And you will actually use cards and pages to organize information in a workbook. So each page can contain multiple cards and each card can contain a map, chart, or table. So this workbook that we are seeing here contains one page and one card. Okay, next you will create a map of traffic collision. So your traffic collision data is in the form of spreadsheet. So to add it to a map, you will need to enable its location, like what we are doing over here. So the enable location pane is defaulting to longitude and latitude data for location. However, you will add the X and Y field with their specific spatial reference from the data set. Okay. Now a map card is created. It shows traffic collisions in Ottawa as points. Okay. And then you will rename the collisions data set to give it a shorter name. Now that the data set is renamed and you can explore the data set field to become familiar with the data. Okay, so now we are going to exploratory analysis. So this is the second bucket of capabilities and where we truly start to visualize our data. We can use online forms to collect information from the public, embed form in website, share in social media, and use online forms to streamline everyday workflows. And you can also create surveys quickly with Survey 123 Web Designer or Survey 123 Connect. That's the other products of Esri that we have. And another way to explore your data is by simply overlaying map layers. Create a map sandwich with all of these layers. You could, for example, have your location enabled, business data on top, have another organizational GIS layer that's managed and maintained by your organization. And under that, you might have some reference content coming from the Living Atlas or even publicly shared content from a government agency. So these are actually available to you in ArcGIS Online. And finally, under it, all is your base map. This could be imagery, street map, or one of the many other options available. All right, so for spatial and statistical analysis, this is where we get to answer the specific questions that we have identified earlier in the exploratory analysis phase. It includes basic things like descriptive stats, but also more advanced analytical operations. To start out, if you hit the little info button on each card, you will see that there is statistics on the back of each card. And this can be useful for understanding the distribution of the data. Some of the cards have another chart statistics option, and within here, you will see the options for displaying those as lines on the actual charts themselves. And most analysis within ArcGIS Insights is exposed through the action button. This action button is on the bottom right corner of the chart, and it exposes the analysis options. For chart cards, the analysis options are exposed in the form of questions that you are trying to answer. Within each questions, the appropriate tools are exposed that will help you in that area. For example, some of these tools are calculating z-scores, ratios, regressions, and predict. ArcGIS Insights can also create those advanced analytics like link analysis, regressions, and even Python or R integration. All right, so now let's go over one of the demonstration. In the previous demonstration, we created a workbook, prepared the data, and created a map of collision. In this demonstration, we will continue the workflow by analyzing how traffic accidents are distributed across states in Ottawa using spatial and attribute aggregation techniques. So the map of collision includes all types of collision. Now we would like to filter and show only locations with a count of one or more accidents involving cyclists included. So on the map of collision we created earlier, we click on the card filter button. Okay, so we click the left node of the histogram. Later on, we change from 0 to 1. So this is how you can play around with the parameters to display the data that you need on the map. So now the map updates to show only collisions that involve cyclists. A result dataset called collision is also added to the data pane, and result dataset have an orange icon in the data pane. Because the result dataset has the same name as the original dataset, you will later rename this to a more a meaningful name. Okay, next, you will aggregate the number of collisions involving cyclists by city state. That way, you can compare the number of collisions across different areas of the cities. So the map updates to show only the number of collisions involving cyclists in each ward, with larger point symbols corresponding to the more collisions. So then this is how we can actually symbolize our map to better show what we want to analyze based on what we have. So the changes is applied to the map over here. So areas with higher proportion of accidents involving cyclists are darker colors. And now that you have created your map, you will rename the map card to give it a more descriptive name. All right, so now we are going to create a combo chart with total collisions as a line and a cyclist collisions as a bar. This non-spatial visualization in ArcGIS Insights links with maps, allowing interactive data display. So what we are doing over here, we will select 3 fields. And then we will drag to combo chart on the map card to create a new combo chart. So the chart is created, but due to the small default size of the card, some of the data may be difficult to read. So we drag the handle on the right side of the combo chart to expand its size until all of the word names are displayed. All right, so here the pop-up doesn't contain the name of the word. So you will configure it to show the name field, which contains word names. So now once we have configured our chart, we can see that chart shows total collisions and cyclist collisions appear similar but use different scales. So total collisions are 10 times larger. Generally, wards with more total collisions also have more cyclist collisions, except college ward, which has high total collisions but few cyclist collisions over here. Right, so we go to the next slide. So here comes the reporting and collaboration. This is where we really want to leverage the great work that we've done and get it off our desks into the hands of others. So this can be done a couple of different ways. The most obvious is for us to share an interactive report with viewers. So with this, you want to be sure that your page is interpretable and has context. You also need to decide if you are going to share it to specific users and require a login to access it, or if you want to share publicly for anonymous access by anyone. Next is collaboration with other analysts by sharing the analytical model that you have developed. This model can be rerun with new data and it documents your methodology. And lastly is the data results. Resulting data sets are not locked up. They are yours to keep and use, so you have the flexibility to export data for reuse elsewhere. Primarily, the text and media widget is what we use to create context and branding around your analysis. In here, you can, of course, add text and completely control the font, size, colors, and other display options. But you can also reference images and videos or hyperlinks. And using this widget, you can pretty easily add your organization's logo and colors, and reference other contributors or data providers and narrate the viewer through how to understand your analysis. All of this within your layout can be stored in a theme, and then theme can be imported and reused. The model is accessible within the analysis view. Here, the model can be rerun with new data. And these models can be easily shared and re-imported for collaboration with other analysts. Another way to share content is with an Insights workbook package. This allows you to package up the data in its entirety, including the data, and reopen it. And you can create a package within any of the Insights client application options and then reopen them in any of the ArcGIS Insights client applications. All right, so we have another demonstration to show you. In this scenario, imagine that you work for the city of Ottawa, Ontario in Canada, and would like to help the city adopt a policy to decrease cycling fatalities and increase road safety for the public. You have completed an analysis of cycling safety and would like to share your results with stakeholders. So in this demonstration, we will apply cartographic principles and design choices to an existing ArcGIS Insights workbook. Then we will create and share a professional looking report that communicates your finding clearly and effectively. Right, so on the map card, we will change the color palette on the map. So as you can see over here, you can click the right area layer options next to your layer name, and we change the color palette to beige to teal ramp. You can play around with the other appearance options like transparency. And next, we will change the background and foreground colors for the page. The foreground color is used for text, including card titles and axis labels. You will change the card backgrounds so that they use the same light gray color as the base map that we are using over here. So the card background and foreground colors are applied to all cards on the page and will be applied to any new cards that are created on the page. Okay. Then we will add the map legend to the page. and then we move the chart to the open area to the below the map cards. And you can use the side handles to decrease the width of the legend, the width of the map cards. You can rename the field using the rename field option. And over here, we are actually adding a legend, a map legend, and add it to the map card. And you can place this legend anywhere on the page. Use the side handle and the width handle to adjust the size of the cards. And next, we will add text box that will be used to explain the analysis on the page. And from here, you can further change the appearance of your text size, adding breaks, style, and colors, highlighting some of the important words in your text according to your requirements or needs. So now in this exercise, you change the colors and styles on your page to make it easier for your audience to focus on the important aspects of the analysis. You also added a legend and text box to help explain the analysis on the page. Right? Okay, so in this step, in this demonstration, we will share the theme for a page to make it accessible on other pages or in other workbooks. So what we will be doing over here at the top right from the workbook toolbar, you can click on Publish button. So this is where you can choose to share the theme with groups, your organizations, or the public. And if you are going to apply your theme to another page in your own workbook, you can keep the theme private. ArcGIS Insights workbooks can be shared and viewed as an interactive report. So if a workbook is shared with everyone, it will be available to the public, including people without an Insights license. So as you can see here, the workbook can now be viewed by the public, including viewers without an ArcGIS account who have access to the URL. So this workbook opens in your viewer mode. This is what the public will see when they access your workbook report. So the information on each card is interactive and linked to each cards. Okay, so that's would be the end of this presentation. To recap, these are the 4 stages or the 4 key capabilities of ArcGIS Insights. Data access and preparation. It actually connects to data, filter, calculate values, join data sets, format fields, and geo-enable data. Exploratory analysis, visualize data in charts, tables, and maps to refine questions for deeper analysis. And statistical and spatial analysis, use analysis techniques to understand data distribution, relationships, proximity, and changes. And lastly, reporting and collaboration. We share analysis models, document processes, rerun analysis, and present findings with the context. So I guess that's the end of the presentation, and I will pass this over to Kilian for maybe for Q&A session, Kit. All right, so to answer on Fatia's questions, whether we can connect directly to a geodatabase from ArcGIS Insight, we can actually connect to a supported Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, PostgreSQL, or SAP HANA, if I'm not mistaken. So a database containing an enterprise database from Insights in ArcGIS Enterprise and Insights Desktop. So geodatabase support enables you to browse and add geodatabase user tables to your Insight workbooks. Yeah, I hope that answers our users' questions.
Thanks, Dr.
Custom symbology. So basically, to add custom symbology in Insights, you may save your data with custom symbology applied in ArcGIS Pro and publish it as a feature service as one of the items inside your enterprise or your ArcGIS Online. So for map or chart cards that start with unique symbols, you may change the individual symbol colors from the layer option pane. Yeah.
She's asking about who can actually see my published report.
Can you repeat the question again? Okay.
The question will be like they were asking who can see my published report.
Okay, who can see the published report? So basically the visibility of your published reports depends on the sharing settings used when publishing. For ArcGIS Insight in enterprise deployments, other factors in your setup, such as firewalls and disconnected environments, will also affect visibility. So basically, if you remember, we have one demonstration earlier that showed how to which audience that you want to share your report. So we do have options whether you want to share your reports to everyone or only within your organization or within a specific groups, right? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's still a question but we will address the question if we didn't like spell out now, but for those question we will be address you after this. Thanks thanks Zatio again, and thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you for the next Direction Live online webinar series. Thank you.